Nordic countries are experiencing an image crisis. Kingdom of Norway suffers discredit of formerly prestigious Nobel Peace Prize, which has been devalued as Maria Corina Machado surrendered without Nobel Peace Prize organization her Nobel Peace Prize to Donald Trump. Norwegian civil society is outraged. The Nobel Peace Prize no longer represents anything good but most offensive, derogatory, and unusual jokes. For its part, Kingdom of Denmark has been unsuccessful in saving Greenland. Donald Trump shall seize Greenland at his convenience, just as he already converted Venezuela into a United States protectorate. Maybe people are protesting in the streets in Copenhagen, but that doesn't matter. Donald Trump has decided that Greenland shall become United States rare earth reservoir to the Arctic, and so shall it be. Any country opposing United States imminent takeover of Greenland will suffer 10% additional tariffs. Heartfelt and deepest condolences are provided to poor kingdoms of Norway and Denmark, which were supposed to be the most civilized countries on earth and have now been ridiculed. Hydrocarbon law in Venezuela will be upgraded to the liking of ExxonMobil Corporation, which also operates in Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago. Venezuela needs regional integration, and ExxonMobil's return should be facilitated as Venezuelan National Assembly will review infamous Hugo Chavez hydrocarbon law and transform it into an ExxonMobil-friendly hydrocarbon law that will fiercely compete with Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago, so that ExxonMobil also diverges some of its resources into Venezuela. We shall make peace. Settlements must be made on old troubles. The show must continue. Cayetana Alvarez de Toledo and Maria Elvira Salazar have no domestic agenda in either Spain or Florida. They spend their entire waking time rooting for Maria Corina Machado, who is not running for office in Venezuela, as she is barred from doing so until 2036. Cayetana Alvarez de Toledo and Maria Elvira Salazar use propaganda for Maria Corina Machado as a personal self-promotion technique, avoiding any significance on domestic issues that they should be considering in either Spain or Florida. OFAC is expected to issue extended license to Chevron Corporation so that it can increase petroleum production, while United States Treasury will speak to both World Bank and International Monetary Fund so that Venezuela becomes an instant high priority destination for international funding. The change of Venezuelan presidency from Nicolas Maduro to Delcy Rodríguez have produced a massive reshift in global priorities. Venezuela was the most horrible place in the planet, and it has become the most desirable place in the planet in just a couple of weeks. Renewed license provided by OFAC to Chevron Corporation should match or exceed favorable terms that were provided by Biden administration in 2022. The hydrocarbon law that will be discussed in Venezuela, which will be reformed, will see an aggressive fight of United States and international petroleum majors, rooting for as many rights for their companies as they can, while PDVSA will try to retain as much control, fees, and export decisions as possible. We shall soon watch such interesting debate unfold, as certainly petroleum majors have a point, and PDVSA and Venezuela also have points. Middle ground shall be agreed upon, favorable to both oil companies and Venezuela, as we are determined in a thorough, full discussion that will entail foreign investment while preserving Venezuelan sovereignty. And it is significant that the government of President Donald Trump in the United States agrees that Venezuela and Venezuelans should have a share of the pie, not only the petroleum corporations that must invest. United States demand for heavy crude is expected to be gigantic, as they are in a rush to fill their strategic reserve that was depleted during Joe Biden's previous regime in the United States. China, during many years, has filled and expanded their strategic reserves, often by importing extra Venezuelan crude. The United States does not want to remain number 2 behind China, and they will initiate restoring levels of heavy petroleum holdings in strategic reserve, and a significant portion of Venezuelan petroleum exports will be directed to United States Strategic Petroleum Reserve. So Venezuela has successfully in the past been a close ally of China, as nowadays we are becoming a close ally of the United States of America. President Delcy Rodríguez may counter accusations that she is a communist friendly to China, Iran, and Russia, as she could be able to convince Donald Trump to look at those adversarial countries in different eyes through the lens of Venezuela. Donald Trump is already conceding that Venezuela's membership in OPEC Plus is convenient for the United States, as Protectorate of Venezuela, being a member of OPEC Plus, will provide United States inside information on how petroleum market really works worldwide. Venezuela's strong alliance with China, Russia, and Iran will be used by intelligence agencies of the United States to eventually find either common deterrence or common ground. Central Intelligence Agency, by the way, has instructed its director to travel to Venezuela to meet with Delcy Rodríguez. There has been no formal press conference on the results of such meeting, but it has been significant that just a few weeks ago, former President Nicolás Maduro was complaining about United States Central Intelligence Agency in Venezuela, and current President Delcy Rodríguez welcomes them into Venezuela's friendly hands. Acting as a protectorate remains unusual, but it will be the law of the land from now on. Alex Saab has been fired. Delcy Rodríguez can no longer support a fierce competitor who used to make dealings with corruption. He imported food at inflated prices and questionable quality. He dared to export Venezuelan petroleum through unofficial channels by using sanctioned vessels. Alex Saab movements are usually unapproved by United States, so PDVSA, led by Delcy Rodríguez, quickly returned exports promoted by Alex Saab and re-exported the same oil at market price rather than discount price. Alex Saab is widely perceived as corrupt, and Delcy Rodríguez fired him from Commerce Ministries as she is updating her economical team towards people more geared to meritocracy. Global South is trying to provide a narrative that Venezuela's dealings with the United States with oil are predatory and looting. However, ordinary Venezuelans are rooting for new investment to come as soon as possible, as we just want to work. Venezuelans can provide labor, however, capital to extract petroleum must come from foreign companies, which is something that seems impossible to explain to Global South propagandists entrenched in ideology without capital, which usually fails. Venezuela's oil industry recovery should inconvenience many countries that have made their fortunes by suppressing Venezuela. They all know that a highly competing Venezuela is successful, entailing envy and resentment to countries that have made all their recent lives by picking on Venezuela in order to hide their own shortcomings. President Delcy Rodríguez led First Productive Economic Plan 2026. However, small businesses have not been provided a roadmap on how to integrate with broader national map. Invitations remain opaque. Transcripts of discussions are not available to the general public. Transparency is urgently needed. For the time being, Venezuelan consumers and businesses remain thirsty of growth options which have been promised but not made available yet. Venezuela's military is a total disgrace. They have spent millions of dollars buying equipment from Russia, China, and Iran which didn't work. Venezuela might be invaded by the United States at any time. We have no means to defend ourselves. We have already become a protectorate, and Venezuelan military does not provide an explanation on why they are such an utter failure. Venezuela might need to accept United States protection, as unfortunately Russia, Iran, and China failed to protect Venezuela. And Venezuelan military does not seem particularly willing to fight, as they just let the United States graciously invade and extract former President Maduro, whose anti-imperialist dancing was insufficient to hold him in power. Venezuela's foreign policy continues being led by communist Foreign Minister Ivan Gil, who spends most of his waking time writing communiques deploring whatever country of the international community establishes as a diverging opinion. Emphasis on Russia, China, and Iran is no longer relevant for Venezuelan population. We already know that China, Russia, and Iran will not invest significantly and will not defend militarily Venezuela. So, Foreign Minister should start concentrating in Latin American, Caribbean countries, United States, Canada, Europe, and traditional business partners Venezuela used to have. And if Ivan Gil fails to do so, he might need to be removed by efficiency-oriented President Delcy Rodríguez. Venezuela's geopolitical focus has shifted indeed. Venezuela's economic focus of 2026 is of utmost importance, and we should not get distractions by standard, outdated politicians who are already rooting for presidential elections in this year, which is not supposed to hold any presidential elections, as we already had presidential elections in 2024. There are opposition politicians who need to constantly be engaging in elections so that they receive funding for distributing leaflets, campaign propaganda, mobilization in hotels across the country, hiring and firing activists, and whatever economic transactions are usually associated with electoral campaigns. Venezuela's economy has abused of presidential elections as a means of getting rich quick. We have had candidates such as Claudio Fermin, who has participated in every single presidential election. He has always lost presidential elections, but he is still rich, as he has successfully gained money in the process of participating in Venezuelan presidential elections. Any opposition politician who claims that we should engage in presidential elections this year will be accused of blocking the economic development that is being prioritized for economic growth in 2026. Opposition politicians must wait until the year 2030 for engaging in presidential elections, as Delcy Rodríguez is obliged to complete Nicolás Maduro's term. Venezuela's traditional and rare earth mining resources are significant. However, they have not yet become a topic of conversation. It is important that we get our petroleum industry running again so that this course can shift into rare earth. There is depletion of ecosystems at Orinoco mining arc. Drug seizures have been reported in southern Amazonas state. Illegal mining must be eradicated to give place to orderly state-approved mining with international investors. Maps of available resources are not widely available yet. Venezuela needs to orderly tackle opportunities that shall be opened regarding rare earth mining as soon as possible. While Freddy Ñáñez has been moved from Ministry of Communication to Ministry of Ecology, and he will be able to monitor whatever excesses rare earth mining might do to the environment. Native Americans as well as Creole Venezuelans shall have a say on how to develop our resources and enrich our population. President Delcy Rodríguez is offering Venezuelans a transparent way of developing housing, health, agriculture, and government paperwork. Sovereign funds shall be monitored in real time. President Delcy Rodríguez has promised that Venezuelans will at all times be informed on how much money is available in such funds. We sincerely hope and expect this to be true. It sounds too good to be true. Venezuelans have been lied to on opaque dealings of money from the government, and this sudden welcome offer of transparency is unusual, needed, and unbelievable. During 2026, opposition leadership will concentrate on blocking any economic development. If Venezuela actually gets to develop its oil, rare earth resources, and funds are distributed and informed in a transparent fashion, opposition will have no case. Venezuelan opposition needs Venezuela to fail so that they have a topic of conversation on what doesn't work. Opposition politicians had the easy job of denouncing that everything was wrong, and they were very successful in collecting funding from the international community to offer change. Now that change is being provided by government of Delcy Rodríguez, opposition politicians have depleted their discourse and will be signaled as a torpedo interested in providing to the international community a despicable image of a Venezuela that always fails to produce. Opposition politicians will enter an existential crisis. They fail to renew their leadership, and of course, they will concentrate on imposing democracy and elections while focus of the country is exclusively economic. Venezuela has gained stability. Donald Trump and Delcy Rodríguez have a wonderful relationship. All plans must be executed methodically and opposition leaders asking for regime change and elections must be quickly identified and prevented from attempting regime change again.